Auzubillahi minash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Today I'm going to talk about the effect of population control laws or effect of the declining population or reducing population in the growth of economy in the long term. We have recently seen China has changed its policy from the one child to two child, and now China is allowing 3 children per family. So this is how it is affecting. I wrote on the topic of the fall of China. China presently going to take over the America as economic power and the world's biggest economy by 2035. But unfortunately, it is very difficult for China to sustain this growth for a long term. It is not because of the American sanctions. It is not because of the pressure it is facing on the Uyghur issue. It is not because of technology. It is because of only one reason, and that is its declining population. The single biggest challenge for the China is its declining population. But this problem does exist to many more countries, and specifically this problem is extensively faced by European countries. This year, Korea has a negative population growth, means the rate of its death is more than the birth. Japan is already in the contraction. Italy and other developed countries which are extensively facing the challenge of declining population or challenge of aging population, where working hand is getting less and the older population is increasing very fast, and this is one of the reasons why they need immigrants. So basically, human resources is single biggest resource of the world. The whole theory of the population explosion is a farce, is a lie. We have seen with the increased population, production has increased of the crops. The second thing about the poverty and hunger. Poverty and hunger has nothing to do with the population. Population is an asset. Human resources is an asset. The poverty and hunger has to do with the greed of the few. Today, top corporations, America's top 50 corporations and the richest people do not pay a penny in the tax or pay very low taxes. Dear friends, we need to understand where is the problem and what we are really trying to do. So problem is somewhere else. Few people's holding extensive asset. The present system is not based on justice for all. The present system is not really addressing the problem of poverty and the hunger. The system is by the rich and for the rich, and this is the reason how few people is holding huge assets. If we look at India, world's most hungry country, where highest number of hungry people resides. When this hunger has increased in last 1 year or so during the COVID time, the wealth of the rich has increased more than 3 times. This is how ridiculous it is. When the pupils are going hungry, when the pupils are not able to find the jobs, when the pupils are facing the poverty, The few of them are making money on by exploitation of the poor. This is real thing. But this is not only in India, but this is everywhere. The wealth of the richest people has increased tremendously in the last 18 months of the COVID period. This imbalance needs to be addressed. The government and system must address the imbalance. Today, the US Congress is talking about increasing minimum wages, increasing the benefits, because they are not increased for last more than 15 to 20 years. So this is the reason. The minimum guarantee of the health care for all, minimum guarantee for the education, free education for all, and the food, minimum food is a responsibility of the government. Increasing population is not a problem, it is an asset. The government must know how to utilize this population to create a more wealth and more and stronger economy. China has shown it in the last 30 years, from where it is almost equal to India in 80s. The size of the economy of the China and India is almost same in the 80s, but today China is more than 5 times bigger than India. So China knows and decided to use its human resources to produce more, and when they produce more, world has bought the products, and today China is where it is. Unfortunately, India has failed miserably to use its population to produce more. Even it is more and more becoming import driven than the self-sufficient economy. The problem is structural. Problem is a development model. But all over the world, the developed world is facing bigger challenge of reducing population. Korea, Japan, Germany, OECD countries, or the Western Europe is affected heavily by reducing population or aging population. So who will take care of this aging people? If they do not have enough to take care of this old people or care home residents, it is very difficult. Who will run the factories? And this is one of the reasons, the single biggest challenge the Western world is facing. How the economy will run, how the economy will run, how the factories will run, how the research will happen if there are not enough able hands. And this will increase more immigration. Talents will be drainage of the talents from the emerging market to the developed world will happen. So real problem is not population, but the real problem is a system which we are addressing. Today, it is time to act on the issue of the development and taxation. Unfortunately, the present system of taxation does not really address the poverty and the hunger. So we need to have discussion on how the world is willing to manage the hunger and the poverty, because unless and until this systematic problem of hunger and poverty is addressed, there is not going to be solution. The countries like Canada, the countries like Sweden, UK, they are the countries who give maximum. These are the countries which give maximum leave for the maternity leave. They give the maternity leave for both the parents. Sweden with 480 days, and the Canada almost 118 months of maternity leave to both the parents. the UK, and this leave, most of this leave is a paid leave. These are paid leave given to the parents so that they can take care of their newborn babies. So we must understand the problem is somewhere else, and we need to address where the problem is. Unless and until we really understand why poverty and why hunger, it cannot be solved. Population or human resources is an asset. Every country must use it properly, especially the country like India. It is, when we talk of the population control, we talk about the Kerala, where the per female birth rate is 1.67 to 1.87, whereas the birth rate for the Bihar and UP is about 2.4 to 2.67. It is all about the development. If the development happens, the birth rate will come down automatically. If we try to reduce the birth rate by force or artificially, it is negatively going to affect the communities. It is negatively going to affect the long-term growth prospects and development of the country. We have seen today Germany is giving the blue card, America gives the green card, and most Canada, Australia, and New Zealand are open to immigration because they know without the immigrants they cannot grow. Without the immigrants, these countries cannot grow, and this is one of the reasons they allow the immigration. Their factories cannot run without the immigrants. The aging population of the Western Europe and the other developed countries of the Korea, Japan, it is single biggest problem is aging population. So remember, the problem is not population. Population is an asset. The leadership must know how to utilize it and how to use it to produce more. From the 80s till today, China has grown big, 5 times than India's economy, and it is because they have utilized their population as an asset. India was ahead in the science and research in the 80s. It is much ahead of the China. Unfortunately, India lost all that age in all these years, and today India is a very smaller economy and facing the hunger and poverty problem when the smaller countries are doing very, very good. Problem is in how the system works. Problem is in the system. The global system as well as Indians' financial system needs to address the structural problem or development problems rather than controlling the population. Population or the human resources is an asset, and we must utilize it to produce more so that we can have the better tomorrow rather than forcing it to reduce the population. The problem is few people having the wealth. The world's richest 1% owns more than 99% of the poor. India's bottom pyramid of 60% owns less than 7% of the wealth of India. The top of the pyramid, 1%, owns more than 50% of India's wealth. India's top 65 rich families owns almost half of India. So the real question is, where is the problem? And this skewedness this skewed disparity into the economy is creation of last 30 years. This was not the situation in the 80s. When India changed its development model from the socialist economy or welfare economy to The capital driven economy, it has lost the direction. It has lost the direction, and this loss of direction has created more hunger and more poverty rather than the jobs. Even when India was growing at a 9%, there were not enough jobs created. We must understand the jobs needs to be created in the rural areas. Jobs needs to be created in the villages, so that the everybody, every hand, every asset has the earning, and this will reduce the poverty. We do not need few rich people controlling the country. We need everybody to be having minimum living standards. This is what the democracy is all about. Everybody must have equal opportunity. Everybody must have right to justice rather than few controlling the wealth of the country. My real question is, population growth is going to affect the long-term growth and development of the country. So the whole talk on the population control law needs to be seen in that perspective and addressed in that perspective, rather than just talking of the population growth as a problem. Thank you very much.